Okay, so let's look at our definition. All right, it says simple interest is the amount of money paid or earned for the use of money. To find simple interest, which we will denote I, use the formula I equals PRT. Let's put a box around that so we don't forget. So here's our formula. Principal, which is P, is the amount of money deposited or invested. Rate is R, and it's the annual interest rate written as a decimal. So everybody underline that. It has to be written as a decimal. Okay? Alright, so underline that decimal. It has to be written as a decimal. And then time, which is T, is going to be the amount of time that the money is invested in years. Okay? It has to be in years. If it's in months, we're going to have to convert it. Okay? Alright, so let's look at example 1. It says find the simple interest earned in a savings account where $136 is deposited for 2 years if the interest rate is 7.5% per year. Okay, so we're going to use our formula I equals PRT. But we need to figure out what is PR and T. Okay, so P up here, it tells me that it's the amount of money deposited or invested. So how much money was being deposited or invested here?
136.
136. So that means that P is $136. Okay. The R is the rate. So what was the rate given? 7.5%. Up here, what did we say the rate has to be written? Has to be written as a decimal. Yes, this has a decimal, but it's a whole number in a decimal, right? This has to be written as solely just a decimal, so 0 point something. Okay? So yesterday and the day before, we learned how to take a decimal and change it to a percent, right? How did we do that? To the right? This time we're going opposite. We're going from percent to decimal, so you're doing it to the left. Okay, so you're going to take that decimal and move it 2 places to the left. So that means I'm going to have to add a 0 in there. So this R is going to become 0.075. Okay, and that's what you're going to use in your formula. Okay. So let's make a note of that so we don't forget. We're going to change the decimal or change to decimal, sorry, not change the decimal, change to decimal. By moving the decimal two positions to the what direction? Left. To the left. Good. Okay. So we're going to move that decimal 2 places to the left, and that's what you're going to plug into the formula. Okay. And then T is my time. So how long am I depositing here? 2 years. So T is 2. It has to be measured in years. It's already measured in years, so we don't have to do anything to that. Okay. So now that we know P, R, and T, we can simply just plug them into the formula. And since it's I equals PRT, what does it mean you're doing with all those numbers? Not adding them. You're multiplying. You don't see any symbols in there, so that means that you're just multiplying. Okay. So it should be 136 times 0.075 times 2. 18.9. You can do the multiplication sign if you want to. I don't believe it's 18.4. 136 times 0.075.
She said 18.9.
24.
Yeah, should be 20.4.
Oh.
Okay. And what exactly is simple interest? What does it say it is up here? Amount of money. So it should be written as money. Okay. So you should have your dollar sign. And it should be rounded to how many decimal places? 2, right? So if my calculator gives me 20.4, what should it be written like as money? No.
Oh.
Is this $20.04 or is it $20.40? So you have to add a 0 to it. Okay. If your calculator doesn't give you the 2 decimal places, you got to add that 0 there. Okay. It's money. We know how money is written. You don't go to the store and you see just 20.4 on the price tag. Okay. You got to add that 0 to it. So that is your answer. Questions on what we just did? Okay. Example 2 says find the simple interest for $600 invested at 8.5% for 6 months. So what is my P here? 600. What is my rate, my R? 8.5%, but we have to change that to a decimal. So what is it as a decimal?
0.085.
Good. 0.085. And then my T is 6 months. What do we know about time? Has to be in years. So how can you convert that to years? It's half a year. But if it wasn't something that I easily knew that it was half a year, how could you figure it out? Say that said 2 months.
You count how many months are in a year?
It's telling me 2 months. How many months are in a year?
12.
12. So if I have 6 months, you're going to divide it by 12 to convert it into years. Okay. So this would become half a year put a little note there that you have to convert to years by dividing by 12.
So it would be times 1/2.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to put over here in parentheses as well how we found half a year, we would have done 6 divided by 12, which simplifies to 1/2. Okay, so that's how we got that 1/2. Okay. So however many months they give you, you're always just going to divide that number by 12, and that's what you're going to plug in your formula. Okay. All right, so I equals 600 times 0.085 times 1/2. So obviously, yeah, it's going to give you a fraction answer, but money is not in fraction form, so convert that back to a decimal. And what is it? Heather? 50? Yeah. $25.50. You have to remember to add that 0 to the end. Do not give me an answer, 25.5. I will count it wrong. Guess we should know that by now. Questions on that one? Not too bad? Okay. Let's look at example 1. So here they're just giving you the numbers. So it's principal, rate, and time. So what do you have to do first before plugging it into that formula? Yes, this decimal, right? You got to change that percent, that R, into a decimal. So what does 5% become? 0.05, right? Because you move it 2 places to the left. So that means I equals 300 times 0.05, and then 2 years, it's already in years, so you don't have to do anything to it.
So you don't have to write it down. You don't have to do the P.
No, I don't mind if you don't. But I do want to see where your numbers are plugged in. So like on your homework, this is what I would want to see. Don't just give me your final money answer. Show me where you plugged it in that formula and then your answer. Okay. So 300 times 0.05 times 2, what is that? $30. Good? Let's skip down to number 6. So first off, my 11%, I know I have to change that to a decimal, right? So what does that become? 0.11, right? So P equals, or I, sorry, not I. I mean not P, I equals 2105 times 0.11. I'm already in years, so times 1 3/4. If I wanted to put the decimal instead of the fraction, what would 1 3/4 be as a decimal? 1.75, right? 3/4 as a fraction converted to a decimal is 0.75. So 1 3/4 would be 1.75 if you wanted to plug that in instead of the fraction. So what is my answer? So how do you round that? 0.21, right? You don't need that last 5. All you need is the 0.212. The 2 is below 5, so you just drop it and it stays the same. So 405.21. Oops. Sorry. We good? Okay. We're going to do 7 and 8, and then I'll let y'all get started on your homework. So number 7, I've got $903, 8.75%, 18 months. So what do I need to change? The percent. So what is it going to change to? What is my percent going to change to? 0.0875. Good. And then Barron, what else do I have to change?
The months.
The month. So how do I do that?
You
Divide by 12. So 18 divided by 12. Okay. You could simply just plug that fraction in your formula if you wanted to, or you could go ahead and get the decimal out of it. 1.5. So now I can find out I. So that's 903 times 0.0875 times 1.5. So how does that round?
The 5 plus the 7 to round up to an 8.
Hmm?
It would be 1/7
think you left off a
118.
0 somewhere.
So it'd be 118.
Remember, all you need is the three digits after the decimal, so the .518. You look at that 8, it's larger than 5, so it turns the 1 into a 2. Okay. So 118.52. So $118.52. Good? Okay, last one, number 8. What does my percent become? 0.19. My time is 3 months, so what do I do there? Divide it by 12. So it's simplified. 3 divided by 12 is 1/4, right? And we should know what 1/4 is as a decimal. 0.25. Good. So I equals 4,275 times 0.19 times 0.25. What do we get?
303.10.
Point what?
0625.
0625. So does the 2 tell the 6 to do anything? No, so it's 06. Any questions? So as long as you can remember to change that percent to a decimal and convert your months to years, you should be fine. Okay. You can write your homework up here at the top of the page so you know what you're doing. Is it 361? Yep, page 361, numbers 8 through 18. Okay. Yeah, not even bad. Remember, I do want to see exactly what we just did down there at the bottom. I want to see I equals all your numbers plugged in and then your final answer. Okay? Don't just give me a final answer. Those first 2 rows, I'm going to go ahead and grab a book.